Greetings and salutations and welcome. We are in this amazing facility and here are some amazing pedals. And you've just appeared as if by osmosis, by accident, right next to me. Who are you and why are we here?
Well, I'm Paul Flattley and I'm from Flattley Guitar Pedals. And we're here today to talk about Flattley bass products that we make.
I've had a chance to go through these pedals in what we affectionately call the tuning room, which is this amazing state-of-the-art facility, also known as a cold conservatory, just down the garden path. And using a pair of cans, also known as headphones, I've had a go and I've found sounds that I like with these various pedals. And I've come to these knowing that they are incredible pedals, but this is my first experience with the world of Flattley, and the first place that I started was a clean bass sound. Now, although this bass has loads and loads of jiggery and pokery, technical terminology, I'm just going to be using this as a passive P bass. So it is just quite pretty. It's a P bass sound. You know it. You love it, you're familiar with it. And the first thing that I noticed when I had a go with these pedals, with the cans, is the boost pedal. I was told this was a boost pedal. It's got the ace of spades on it. And initially I dismissed it as just a clean boost. I kind of thought, I made these grunting sounds. It annoyed people around me. It annoyed myself. But I discovered, using the settings that I had, that it's an enhancer, an exciter. So here's the before and after. Before. It gives a certain something, a certain je ne sais quoi. What is going on here? It's not just a volume increase. It's adding some mojo.
Yeah, so it's a clean tone booster. So it works in a few different ways. You can have it, as you first thought, as a clean boost on a clean channel or dirty channel with a drive sound. You can have it just as a tone enhancer, so it'll tone the whole of the rig between the amp and the bass. Or you can use it as a tone booster. So you can set it so that you've got the amount of boost that you want, whether you want bass frequency or you want mid frequency or treble frequencies. So you just dial it in.
I have it operating at roughly kind of 12:10 in the PM. Where is Unity on this in terms of the tone level?
So Unity is roughly about here. It's about halfway,
right,
for both volume and tone. So those are the Unity settings.
So I went for a bit of a volume boost and a bit of a tone boost there, and it sounds. It adds a certain something. It doesn't colour it too much. It just makes the bass sound better. And really, I mean, this is why, in the world of reviews, I am known as Mr. Ornate. It's really, really lovely. What is the name of this pedal?
So this is called the Bass Ace.
Right.
Okay. We make a guitar version of it. It's called the Ace. This is called the Bass Ace because this is the bass-centric model, specifically, for basses.
So it's the ace face playing through the bass ace.
Correct.
Brilliant. The one thing I found is that every one of the pedals that I had a chance to go through, and again, I had about half an hour to try different settings, it just sounded better with the bass ace on. It just adds a certain something. Would it come under the heading of a buffer pedal?
It has a buffer inside it as part of the circuitry in there. So that's what gives it a really nice body to the product, whether you're boosting it or toning it. And then on top of that, the boost sound is totally cleaned. So it's done by transistor. And the tone control is very similar to the tone control on the Solaris Pro from the guitar range. So it has a really wide bass to treble range. So it covers a big spectrum of tonal palette.
How much taming of what's beneath the bonnet, or as our American cousins call it, the hood, did you have to do between the guitar version and this?
Not too much, if I'm honest. Some of it, we changed some values in there so that when you've got higher gain, pickups from like active basses, that you don't get unwanted distortion, because at the end of the day this is a clean boost, so it's not adding any additional clipping to either the clean signal or a dirty signal if you're using the. So it is more about the right settings to suit bass frequencies and the gain, the high gain that you're putting into them, of making sure that you don't get unwanted feedback and oscillation from it.
In terms of this pedal board here, the bass board, you've got it in a specific location. Is that a very deliberate and designed thing, or can it exist anywhere within the chain? Do you have a recommended area for the bass face?
Well, to answer the first part of the question, we set our board up so it's just a normal standard signal chain, because at the end of the day, we're demonstrating pedals to people and for them to get the best experience. So where it is at the moment, it's after all the dirt pedals, because I've personally found that's where you get the most of the volume uplift after the dirt pedals if you want to use it as a boost function. You can use it before the dirt pedals. You will still get boost function, but it works slightly differently, or you get different tones with it. It can sound a little bit darker depending on the type of amp that you're using. One of the other benefits of it being after the dirt and before the modulation, you can put a low amount of boost on the pedal into the modulation, and it will really make them come alive a lot more, but without them starting to clip.
I've absolutely found that in layperson's terms. For me, I had a go with all of the pedals, and there are a number of modulation pedals which we'll get into later. And I tried them with the bass ace on and with it off, and I preferred it on. Basically, if this was a jam, I would have it on every slice of bread that I consumed in future. This is a beautiful pedal.
Thank you.
I want one. Perhaps in life, when I'm reincarnated, I'll come back as one. You'd mentioned the world of dirt, and in no particular order, the first pedal that I was gravitated to is this one right here, which for me, just as soon as I plugged it in, I dialed up a setting that I really enjoyed, and I found a really percussive overdrive sound. For me, that's just got chunk and definition, and it just is everything that a bass player who likes a bit of dirt requires in a pedal. So I'm hearing an overdrive pedal. What is it called? Is it an overdrive pedal? Am I accurate in my diagnosis?
So you're correct there, Andy. This is our bass-centric overdrive pedal. It's called the Bass Chief. Okay, and it's an op-amp based overdrive circuit. It comes with a blend control, volume, and gain control, and then it has a bass and a treble control on it as well. So you can really fine tweak it to do various different things. So in some ways, you can use it as like a boost pedal if you want to just give it some but not too much clipping. Likewise, you can use it, as you've just found, there's a full-on bass that's got plenty of depth in it in the tank, sounds nice. And comes through the mix as well, which I think is quite important.
Absolutely. It really, really, it packs a punch, but is incredibly articulate. For me, it's got that kind of John Entwistle Ox sound. It just sounds like a P bass going through a valve amp and just giving it some, and the breakup is really, really musical. I went for this particular setting because it's got that percussive. Are there any settings that you can recommend, or is there anything in terms of what this pedal is capable of that I haven't tackled with the knob twiddling that I've done with this bad boy?
Well, it's maybe using the blend control to suit maybe the type of songs that you're playing or whatever will help it. It's got more drive in the tank if you want to go a bit more, a bit more overdriven, because depending on the style of music. So it's got a lot more in the tank, and the tonal control on it as well gives you more color to the sound as well. So yeah, it does a little bit more than what currently how you've got the settings. It will become more raspy if you want it to, depending on what color of overdrive you need.
Mr. Flattley, you have made this. This is your bad boy. Do you want to dial up some more raspiness?
Yeah, why not? Let's give it some.
I like it. It that definitely has a bit more oomph to it. Entering some kind of, Lemmy territory. Lemmy would like that.
I think one of the important things to understand about this pedal, even if you make it more raspy and more on, it's all usable. Even if you go to the max on the drive and the volume, it's still really, really usable at all the range of the pedal, which I think makes it, quite versatile.
Yeah, I mean, the articulation is, remains in place, even though that's super dirty. You can hear everything that's going on there. It's tight. There's a real tightness to it without being compressed. You've chosen the transistors, and you mentioned this is op amp.
Yes.
It works perfectly for this kind of sound, and it's again, there's raspiness, but it is still really, really musical. Love it. This is a wonderful pedal. Again, what is the name of this?
It's called the Bass Chief.
The Bass Chief.
Yeah.
If you want an overdrive pedal, forget your big muffs, get the Bass Chief. Also, one really important thing is, can you hear that? Exactly. It's really quiet.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Well, one of the things is on this particular product, we're using standard 3904 transistors, which are quite quiet and give you the definition that you need. But one of the things that we do through the PCB manufacturing process is we flood the ground plane on the PCB, so everything's very well earthed. So again, that sometimes can take some of the unwanted noise out of products as well. It's and depending on other things like how much volume you're using. With high gain products, you can't get rid of all the unwanted noise because it's high gain, so you always get some of that hiss sounds that you get there. But I think, with the Bass Chief, you'd really need the volume up around about 80% of the way to start engaging with that sort of hiss sound, particularly if you're playing more in, like in the living room at home, where noise is obviously critical, so that the amp's low, but you need to get more volume from the pedal to get that sort of nice room level where you're not really annoying everybody. So we try our best to try and remove all the unwanted noise from all our products, so that it makes it better for recording as well, so you don't have to use that much noise suppression. So there sometimes you're losing some of the you're losing some of the actual characteristics of the product because the noise suppression is sterilizing them basically. So
what I'm super impressed by is the fact that an overdrive pedal is now on. The boost pedal, the bass ace, is also on. Yet, I just heard a mouse go by, and that mouse said something that was really unpleasant, and I'm not going to repeat it here. Really, really impressed. Love that. The Bass Chief is a wonderful overdrive pedal. And going from that, when I was running through these for the first time, I worked out where the dirt is located. And the dirt zone, for me, appeared to be this trio of wonderful pedals. And the second one I gravitated to, which definitely comes under the Fuzz heading, is this wonderfully psychedelic thing of beauty. And I noticed that, it's got the on-off switch, most pedals have them, and a boost. And this is just a fuzzy thing of beauty. It made me kind of play almost like dirty sequencer keyboard parts. that's great. And then I discovered by putting this boost switch on, or what I believe is a boost, it goes into something bigger and, to my ears, better. What is this wonderful pedal? It's fuzzy, it's gorgeous. I love it. Talk to me about it.
Okay, so this is the Bass Solaris. It is a fuzz pedal, you're quite correct. This is our bass-centric version of the guitar range. We have a product called the Solaris Pro. And it's a 2-gain stage fuzz, and it has a boost on it. The boost gives you audio, but also puts overdrive over the top of fuzz. Okay, so what that does is it tames the fuzz so that it really tightens up and becomes even more articulate. So it cuts through the mix. So a 2-gain stage fuzz would be something in muff territory, which is a big sound with lots of sustain, but not necessarily as much articulation as this product. So this is what we've done with this product, is to make it a big sound, but maintain the articulation that you can hear. And then if you want to use it as a lead element, then you've got that cut through the mix and you can hear it and the articulation remains as is. You know, it's a really fantastic, meaty sounding fuzz. And I was quite surprised when we developed it for the bass version, how good it was on the bass. And being a guitar player, not a bass player, I engaged with the bass more with this fuzz pedal because the bass seems to react instantly with the fuzz sound, whereas our other fuzz pedal that we make is a Germanium based. And to me, as a guitar player, it seems that you play the note on the bass and then you hear the fuzz slightly afterwards. Okay, but I think that's just being a guitar player, where that you hear it instantly, whereas the bass, it works slightly differently with, you know, pedal products and stuff.
I mean, if you're in an outfit that does doom or shoegaze, I mean, this is a thing of beauty. It's a power chord. It's a power chord in C, but there's definition. Often, if you were to go down this route, you know, it would sound like a huge diarrhea fart. And I'm sorry to use that kind of terminology, but this, you've got the low end, but the idea of being able to get the root and the fifth to ring clearly is absolutely amazing. Now, without that boost, it's, well, a lot more quiet, but this does take you to a very special place.
I mean, it's probably a good time to actually talk about some other things with this product. With the Solaris fuzz, internally the fuzz is set to max, okay? And the sustain control basically gives you gain of the fuzz. So as you turn the sustain up, it's giving you more gain of the fuzz, okay? But when you roll the sustain off, okay, basically what you've got is the initial circuit inside, which is more of a fuzzy overdrive sound. And you can still use it with the sustain off, engage with the boost as well, because that's putting overdrive with a fuzzy overdrive tone. Okay, so basically the versatility of the pedal is giving you a little bit more of an overdrive full tone if you want to use it in that way. And it's probably not until you move the sustain control from 6 o'clock, which is at 0 sustain, to about 7, where the actual gain of the fuzz circuit then engages. So you could actually use it as a semi-overdrive pedal as well before engaging with the fuzz side of the circuit more engaged. So just, you know, it's really a great versatile pedal for many different things, you know.
Set to overdrive or the more conservative end of this, how would you alter the settings from where I have, which is, I think I've not been particularly adventurous. I just found something that I liked.
Okay.
But that was just in the tuning room, and I had a little bit of time to go through it. So what would you recommend if somebody wanted to have a sound maybe not that dissimilar to the bass chief?
Okay, so I would roll the sustain off to there.
Right.
Okay, now if you give that a whirl.
Oh, hello. Oh.
No, that's right. So, okay, so now what you're getting is the fuzz circuit internally at max fuzz. That's why you've got more of a fuzzy overdrive tone. And if we engage it with the boost, if I just now go to about there, now you've brought the gain of the fuzz into the mix. So now you've got more of the meaty fuzz sound.
You're certainly right about that.
So that's the sustain rolled off again, still with the boost on. Okay, so I'll put it back to where it's the sound that you were interested in.
And in terms of going beyond that, does it retain its articulation in the same way, or is this just about unashamedly being nasty?
Let's give it max sustain and see what happens there. So to me, I would say that that's remained its articulatism, if that is such a
it is now. Absolutely. And it is filthy. It is. We are shaking the walls here, yet I can hear every note. I mean, the sheer amount of sounds that you can get out of it, this is a wonderful, wonderful pedal. I found a really fuzzy setting that I liked. I didn't realise that you could be a bit more delicate with it. I think the only way around it is people really would need to buy two and to alternate between the two on some pedal.
Nice,
yes. And what is this pedal called?
This pedal is called the Bass Solaris.
The Bass Solaris.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the Solaris earlier. Is that what impacted on the circuitry for the Bass Ace?
Well, the element of the tone control from the Solaris, because the Solaris came first before the Bass Ace and the Ace on the guitar version. And, when you find a good building block of a certain element, then it's good to try and keep that. And if it works well in the circuit, it's good to keep it. So what we're giving you from the tone stack side of things is a really good usable range from a big bass to a very trebly. So all of those are usable at every point in there. So it's trying to make the product as versatile as possible for people. So like some of the working musicians that use particularly on the guitar that use the Solaris Pro on the guitar version, they like it with the boost on all the time, and they roll the volume down to the line level that they want because they like the articulation of the overdrive and the fuzz together like this because it comes through the band mix. Okay, and that's really important. If you're a big band with 4 or 5 musicians in there, a couple of guitars and a bass, everybody has to stand out when it's their particular part of the song. And if you want to use it as the rhythm section to have that as the articulation point of the song because the singer only comes in at the leads, then that's the main body of the song. So it's about using the product in as many different ways as that you can.
It is a tour de force in the world of fuzz. And also Overdrive. I didn't realise just how versatile it was. Proof that you need time and the expertise of the person who designed and made this pedal a reality to point me in the right direction in terms of how to get the most out of it. Now, the pedal next to it, I found what I consider to be a really weird and wonderful setting. And I fully appreciate that looking at where I have the knobs on this device, that I've gone for the extreme end of what this can do. And for me, with this pedal, another fuzz pedal, I believe, there's this kind of 8-bit, glitchy, broken up, almost synth-like sound that really, really resonated with me. And I found by adding some delay, it added another element to it. For me, obviously, it's really, really fuzzy, and it recalled that a Hammond organ or some organ company that you've not heard about, made in Italy in the 1960s, going through an Italian amp that you haven't heard about. There are other countries. And it's dirty, it's glitchy, and it's wonderful. That's what I got out of it. Tell me more about this pedal.
Okay, so this pedal is called the Bass Poison Ivy. So we have a Poison Ivy, which is an octave harmonic fuzz in the guitar range. The Bass Poison Ivy is not necessarily based on that, but we kept the Poison Ivy as association with the fuzz element of it. So this is a germanium-based fuzz pedal. Hence, that's why it sounds a bit more raspy and spitty than the Solaris Pro, which is a transistor silicon-based fuzz. With this particular pedal, the fuzz and the attack work very closely with each other. So, the attack is making it a thinner sounding or a fatter sounding, so that's, you're making the fuzz a bit more spitty and everything else. So, it's about being able to make the sounds more like the synth side, or the sort of like Muse tones and stuff like that that I've heard people at shows demonstrate with the product and stuff. And then volume and blend, obviously, so you want to blend your wet and dry signal, which is more poignant for bass than it is guitar. So yeah, this is totally different than the bass Solaris. And that's why it sounds totally different.
And so it should. You don't want a bunch of pedals that sound the same. And for me, I found myself going the percussive route, being really staccato with the delivery of what I was, with how I engaged with this. And immediately I thought about this being a perfect pedal for song intros or drop downs, where you need to have something with a lot of character before you go all hell bent. Oh hell no! You go all hell bent for leather and kick in the Solaris or the Bass Chief. I mean, for me, I've gone for a thin but fuzzy sound. What else can it do? That's what appealed to me. What do other people do with it? Is there anything that you can recommend in terms of the knob settings? Again, I've been I've been adventurous.
Okay, so if we roll the attack back, let's say, ooh,
low end. There's a bit of delay happening there. I'll turn that off just so you can hear it for what it is. I really like that.
Oh, cool.
I really, really, really like that.
And we could also mess with the blend control as well and see. So if we roll the blend back, that there.
There's a real sense of intent. There's a snarl. There's a kind of a mid-range bite. This is a beagle who is really not happy with you, who wants you to leave the neighborhood, and then goes home to her parents and is a total sweetheart. Guard dogs are a thing of beauty. I really, really like that. Just to be able to go from that be in a box sound, that fuzzy sound, to something with a bit more body is wonderful. And again, silent. Love it. I really, really love it. The fact that that's quite a retro sounding fuzz in many ways. And I would imagine in the guitar world, it would kind of recall that, Buffalo Springfield 1966, 1967 kind of fuzz tone. With the bass, though, it takes it into this near synthy world that I really, really like.
Yeah.
It's like a clavichord going through, a Selmer treble and bass amp. That's a wonderful pedal. And again, it is called the
Bass Poison Ivy.
The Bass Poison Ivy. If that's Poison Ivy, I will take it and I will apply the appropriate ointment afterwards. Now, the other pedals here are entering into the world of modulation. The most extreme one that I heard, and I believe it's an envelope filter, it's in a shade of blue that I wish I could have as a shirt, and I want that pattern as a shirt. And this, when I heard this, I thought, surely we're entering into this is envelope filter territory, but it's super musical. It's the throw on it isn't as extreme as I've found, or at least the settings that I've used, isn't, and it just makes me want to be in a 1970s politically questionable concern, playing some, it's an envelope filter, but it's an envelope filter that just sounds better than the other ones that I've played on. It reminds me a bit of a Mutron that I borrowed once.
Well, there could be a bit of a Mutron vibe in there somewhere.
Yes! I'm such a geek, and it pays off. Tell me more about it. I mean, there's this. I noticed with this toggle switch here, the way that it engages with the high end and low end becomes really, really different. I chose this setting because it just resonated with me for the short time that I had with it.
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head there. That's a high-low switch. So in that position where you've got it down, you're in the low position. If you push it forward, you'll be in the high position. So again, that takes quite a bit of the bass end out, so you get more top end out. So it really accentuates as like the finger and slap style that you're doing. I struggle with this pedal because I'm not a bass player, and the motion of doing that is quite a lot different than guitar pedal, which is guitar players, it's up and down. So unfortunately, when I do it, when testing pedals, I have to listen to the sweep of it and everything else rather than being able to go like as you just did there. So, but yeah, it's a great pedal. You can really accentuate with it. It retains its articulation using the high-low switch. You keep the bottom end, you can keep the top end with the product. So
before we look at that toggle switch, the one thing I also noticed about it is how sensitive it is to touch. So, come on. I love it. So that's with the toggle switched
at the back, which is in the low position. Right. So that's holding the bass end in.
And I'm going to play the same or similar pattern with it in the other position. So what is the difference between the two here? By flicking the switch, what have I just done?
Well, so basically what you're doing now is taking some of the bass end out of it. Okay, so now you're going to get more of the top end.
Right, so I like that. A really, really different flavour. That feels like we're entering into more of a synth territory with a lot of oscillator manipulation. But this initial setting that I came up with, love it. It's as though it's talking for me. And indeed, maybe I should carry on conversations where I normally bore people, which may be happening now, using this pedal. Love it. And this is called...
That's a very good question.
What is it called?
That's called the Bass Filtron.
The bass Filtron.
Yeah.
Love it. I've played on the Mutron version. I had access to one. I borrowed one for a session. Loved it. I then discovered that it's basically worth a house, and they are going for a lot of money. And this sounds better. And it's made here in the UK. Mr. Flattley, whereabouts are you based?
Well, we're based in Lincolnshire. And just to give you an overview, the PCB board itself is made in Gloucestershire. Okay, I put all the components on it in Lincolnshire. the hand painting and the graphics are done in Peterborough and Tewkesbury. So we do have 2 paint shops there. The laser etching on the knobs to put the text on is done by me, because I now splashed out and bought my own laser etcher.
Nice.
The plaques are done in Gloucestershire at a different place. They used to do the laser etching for me in the early days. The cardboard boxes that we use come from Lincolnshire, and the recycled paper as well. So we try to keep our carbon footprint as small as possible. So, but we're really proud that we can do so much of this in the UK, and that we are a UK-based manufactured company,
and not just some anonymous concern in which things are designed in one place and produced in some remote outpost. The fact that you've given provenance is a thing of beauty. Although, Paul, I'm deeply concerned that Rutland hasn't featured in the manufacturing process. I do hope you remedy that soon. Wonderful, wonderful pedal. Now, the others, I have been able to surmise what they are, and I think I'm accurate. This wonderful blue sunburst pedal, blueburst. Blueburst. For me, it made me think of Duff McKagan and Barry Adamson of G and R and magazine, respectively, and it seems very chorusy to me.
The sound of the pedal that you're playing currently and the one next to it is Simon Gallup, Peter Hook style territory.
Absolutely.
Which is more of my interests,
right?
From that sort of era in the 80s and obviously they're all still going now, but hence the chorus is a vintage chorus, so it's modelled on a sort of early 80s style chorus. Okay, so we've got a very lush, deep sounding chorus because a manufacturer brought back making those BBD Bucket Brigade chips from that era, a reclaim. So it's allowed us to make a chorus of that ilk. So when those chips became obsolete, chorus internally as a circuit started changing, and some of them later on had PT2399 chips in there, which is standard in analog delay, because chorus is a very short delay line. And chorus, although it maintained the chorus effects that it did, but it lost something in the deep, lush sound of the chorus of that era. So we've been able to recreate that sound, but give the chorus pedal itself more of a range. So you can get your traditional chorus sound, you can get into the sort of organed and Leslie speaker area before then you get to the sort of vibrato end of the chorus. So we've tried to give it as much range as possible. So I would say with this pedal, with the rate control, small movement is big sound changes.
I noticed. I mean, I have it set to what I consider to be a really lovely chorus sound, which, recalls, Magazine, The Cure, that Ibanez chorus stroke, Boss CE1 and CE2, the pale blue unit, and by the way, which is a huge compliment because I love those chorus pedals.
They were fantastic. I had them myself back in the day in that era.
And this uses a similar Bucket Brigade circuit.
Yes. So the CE2 and the CE3 predominantly differ because of the Bucket Brigade chips. So the CE2 Bucket Brigade chips became obsolete. Then the CE3 had, I think it's the 3102 and the 3207 chips in it, which is what this chorus has in there. So, but we've voiced it more like a CE2.
I prefer the sound of the CE2. That particular Boss pedal didn't have the stereo function, but how many people would connect 2 amps?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But basically, it's the best of both worlds. What more do you want in a chorus effect? It sounds absolutely great. You'd mentioned the fact that it's possible to get some Leslie type of sounds. feel free
so I think
to twiddle.
We would go further up this range.
Oh, yes. That's lush and lovely.
It's very nice, isn't it?
And to be able to get that in a chorus pedal is a wonderful thing. And normally with chorus, it's that sound thicker, and where the speed control function is, there's not too much in it. Certainly not with the Boss pedal. Small movements make a huge difference, and you've absolutely achieved that here. It's lush, and I love it. In fact, I will say it's the best chorus pedal that I've had a chance to play through.
Oh, thank you very
much.
much.
I'd happily have that on my board. I'd happily have all of these on my board. The one next to it, the fact that the first thing that I played when I put this one on, I love the fuchsia glowing on light, by the way, but I just immediately went... Obviously, we're entering the world of the Fazer, and what a great Fazer sound that is. For me, it recorded the Electroharmonics unit, which I've just forgotten the name of.
Is that Small Stone?
That's it, yes.
Something like that.
Which I associate with Chris Cross from Ultravox. That's what I heard from it. What was the inspiration?
The inspiration really was to try and make a very smooth Fazer that was as clean as possible, because Fazers can get quite sharp and trill. So we reduced the amplitude a little bit, tried to make it nice and smooth, but still remain the speed of the Fazer, so you can get those different tones as you go further on the rate control. It's a 4-stage Fazer with 2 knobs and easy to use.
I mean, it's... I love the Phase 90, which MXR put out. This is that is a one-trick pony pedal, but oh my goodness, what a wonderful trick it is!
Yeah,
this can do that. I had some doodling with this pedal before we met, and it's lush without again being noisy and overwhelming. And also, I'm just amazed at. We've got the bass ace is still on, and it's really, really quiet. I love it. Again, it's also very Tony Levin. If you've got a Chapman stick, lob it through here. You can have all of your Peter Gabriel and King Crimson dreams come true. The delay we haven't, and the name of this pedal is
the Bass Star Fazer.
The Bass Star Fazer, and the chorus pedal
is called the Valkyrie, Bass Valkyrie pedal.
Right. The delay you heard earlier when I was going through the Poison Ivy pedal, I do pay attention, and this delay pedal on bass, it's lovely to have, and I used it really, really subtly. It's a... What is the name of this lovely tie-dyed creation?
So this is the Bass Nirvana, and it's got 4 controls in it. It's got the usual volume, which does the volume of the delay. The delay, which is max, is 620 milliseconds, and then you've got the repeat function on there. It also has a tone control on it, which is a tone of the actual delay, and that gives it a nice warm sound. It gives it the sort of spatial awareness, and just makes it a really nice all-round sounding delay rather than being sterile or a little bit harsh. And it's it's very similar to our Nirvana, which is the guitar analog delay, but this one, what we've done is we've tamed some elements of the delay line so that if you're using a higher gain or hotter sort of active bass, that you don't get any unwanted oscillation or feedback in the circuit, which can be induced by the hotter pickups.
And this delay pedal is called the Nirvana.
Bass Nirvana.
Bass Nirvana. Yeah. And if you want to have some, sort of oscillation until the cows come home, this indeed is your Nirvana. Now, last but most definitely not least, and as a closet Metallica fan, Cliff Burton, for whom the bell tolls, there is a wah wah pedal here. What is it called? And how is it different from other wah wah pedals? This is kind of largely uncharted waters in the world of bass. So you've come up with a bass-centric wah wah pedal. Talk me through it.
Okay, so this is the Bass Wah. It's derived from our guitar wah. It's a twin-T resonant filter style wah pedal, as opposed to either like a Clyde, which is a halo inductor, and your crybabies for eventually use red and yellow phasals. So it's a little bit different. It has a bass, mid, and a treble range. Okay, and it's a very sort of linear sweep, so you get a very nice smooth wah function, whereas traditionally when you're sat here, it's all bass and then instantly it's all treble. So you get the squeal. So this is amazing on clean stuff because it's so tight and articulate, but you can hear everything. You don't get the swish of the pot going round like you do with the conventional halo and phasal. So it's really quiet and smooth. One of the other things, particular with this wah pedal, is it has a light plate in it. Okay, so the eagle-eyed people can see that this wah has been on all the way through our video, but with it toe down, the wah is on, but the wah function is off. The pot goes into the flat spot, and it's just straight through the bass function. One of the other beauties of the light plate, it tells you the wah is on, but whether the wah is on the board or off the board, what it also does is give you horizontal light in this plane. So when you're working on dark stages, it gives you additional situation awareness of where things are at your feet when particularly it's getting busy and you've got to cut in to your solo. So it just gives you that without giving you any black spots, blind spots in your eyes, so that it's not giving you any problems. And it's probably fair at this point to say that the reason why our products come standard with the halo light rings in there is for the same reason. It's functionality. It's diffused light. So human nature, step on the pedal, you always look down to make sure where you are. And if you're using like a boost pedal to go into a solo, the 95% of the light of an LED comes out of the tip, so it goes straight up. So hence that's why sometimes you can be a little bit blind with the lights for momentarily. So the diffused light doesn't do that. If you're playing outside concert, then it won't be as bright as you're seeing it now, but what you will see is that the ring around there is actually coloured, so you know that it's on. So it works very well. We put foot top as a standard on all Flattley products, and again, it's for a functional reason, so that it gives you more real estate to hit on when you're doing pedal changes. Okay, so that it's there for a reason, and it's mainly to do with functionality for working musicians.
It's so well thought through. I mean, if you're watching this, you have been on stage and have had that, Roxanne, why did you put on the red light? And, the next thing you know, you've forgotten where the microphone is, you've forgotten the next line that you're singing, and then bad things happen. And it's great. It's the tuning room where I was trying all of this out. Is very, very, very dark, and it's a pleasant diffused light. I wish that all the lights in my life were this way, which means that you need to also go into the world of the home and to use this technology above our heads and all of that good stuff. it has been an absolute pleasure. It has been a slice of heaven talking pedals with yourself. These are phenomenal, and I think that whoever plugs into them will be inspired, and also will have something that is, so useful both live, in the studio, on stage, both indoors and outdoors, and quiet as can be. You've done something really, really special here. Boutique pedals that are absolutely a must on any serious musician's pedal board, including this Joker. Thank you so much for...
thank you, and it's been an absolute pleasure, Andy. Thank you very much for having me.
Nice one.